Hey everyone, this is Brandon. This is just a quick little update. I drove my van out to the villa for the first time, and there's some good news which I'll share with you in just a moment. But first, I just wanted to give you a quick little, I wouldn't really say it was an update, but maybe some information that I'll be sharing soon. All of this stuff here, it's just like porcelain dishes, sake cups, sake bottles, dishes, miso bowls, plates, lots and lots and lots of stuff. It's so much stuff to go through, and I really want to share it with you, but there's just so much of it. I'm going to have to wait until I have more time to go through it. And I I know I've mentioned it before, but I'm really looking forward to sharing it with you because some of this stuff is really beautiful and I have no idea what it's worth because it seems like some of it is just so valuable and so cool and beautiful. The artwork is amazing. It's hard to imagine anybody eating off of it and using it, but there's so much of it, I can't help but think that it was used for large parties where there were lots of guests. Just behind the shoji here, there's another cupboard in the kitchen. I would walk in there, but the floor is a little bad, and you can see it in one of my shorts. I did make a short video where you can kind of see what's in there, but it's full of more porcelain dishes and some glassware, some things that I need to go through and decide what to keep, what to give away, and what to sell. I don't see anything that's just throwaway. Everything seems so nice, and sometimes it's hard to tell if something is made out of like bamboo or it's plastic because the way it's designed. Um, I didn't know this. It just some of these things when I just look at it, just it seems like a plastic miso bowl or something like that. But a friend of mine told me to check it more carefully because it could be bamboo, and if it's made of bamboo, then it's more valuable. But that's pretty cool. Anyway, the other thing is, right here in the under this floor, there's a large irori, and this irori was originally meant for cooking and heating water and things like that. It's larger than the other one. And yes, there is another one. And I made another short video which you can check out. If I remember to do this later, I'll put the link below to these shorts that I've mentioned. But in the other room, I guess I can walk in there. I just closed these, but it's easy enough to open the sliding doors, the Fusuma sliding doors. But in this other room, in the butsudan room, right here in the butsudan room, under this floor, I pulled the tatami up earlier just to take a look, and yes, there is another irori here, but this one is much smaller. It's deeper, but smaller, and it is, or was rather, meant for the, now the name is, Kotatsu. Kotatsu. If you don't know what a Kotatsu is, basically it is think of a table with a blanket over it and a heater underneath it, and people sit around it, and you can keep your legs warm, and you can keep the lower half of your body warm. People can sit around it, and I didn't realize this until earlier this year, but the kotatsu, the electric one, it comes from the kotatsu that was used in this manner. So they actually had embers, like hot embers, coals, that they would have in this irori, in this fire pit, and then they would have the kotatsu on top of it. And so you could sit around, and the heat would be underneath the blanket and the table, and you could stay warm that way. It seems like such a fire hazard to me, but that's the way it was. And I guess they got pretty good at using it that way, and then later it evolved into the electric style, which you may or may not be familiar with now. I didn't know anything about the kotatsu, the electric, or the irori kotatsu until I moved to Japan, but I just learned about the old one uh, earlier this year, so that's pretty cool. And let me close this sliding door here. Whoops, wrong one. Oh, close that. I'm keeping these doors closed in this room because I want to keep the critters out. So if there's like a mouse or a rat or tanuki or whatever, I want to keep them out of this room. This is the room that I typically sleep in. If you've watched my other videos, then you know that I have an air mattress here. and it's still pretty clean. I haven't seen any mouse droppings or anything in here since I closed the room, so that's excellent. My mission is accomplished about keeping them out of this room, keeping the critters out of this room. So I'm very happy about that. Now, back in here, close this. Okay, that's looking good. I still don't really have a decent signal here, and I'm going to see about getting an antenna that goes on top of the roof. Right now, I still have that box in the window there, if you can see that. Right over there, sitting on top of all of those buckets, those bins, there's a Docomo signal booster, and it gives me like 1 bar, and it's really not enough to do anything. Occasionally, I'll get a message while I'm in the house, but when I try to send something or do a live video, it's impossible. It just won't work, so I have to go out to the road and go down the road a little bit. But if I can get an antenna on top of the house, like a MIMO booster where it can send and receive the signals more strongly, it can feed down into the house, and then it can give me a really good signal inside the house. I want to do that, but a good one that works on 5G is going to cost me probably, I don't know, $600 or $700, I think. So I don't even bother looking it up right now because it's just not in my budget, especially since I just got the van. And my second account that I have most of my money in, it was frozen recently. And the reason, if you've lived in Japan for a little while, you probably either know about this or it's happened to you before. But if you don't, then I'll tell you right quick. I think it's interesting. It's a little annoying, but if you're thinking about moving to Japan, this is something you need to think about so that you don't run into the inconvenience that I've run into with it. But anyway, they're pretty strict on your residency and how you're getting money. So when you open a bank account, they need to see your residency, and your residency is directly tied to your visa. Basically, it's the same thing. So I have a working visa. My residency allows me to work and collect money, but the bank knows when your residency is expired, and they will send you some documents or a notice or whatever to say, hey, listen, we need you to update your information with us about your residency. So if you get your visa or residency extended or renewed or whatever, then you need to give them that new information. Once they get it, then there's no problem. You don't have any issues with your account. But if for some reason they don't get that information, or they don't get it by a certain time, then they will freeze your account completely. You can't withdraw any money at all. And that's what's happened to my Mizuho account. So my money is just sitting in there and I can't do anything with it right now. So I'm stuck. There are some things that I really needed to do, and that money in there was meant to help me do that. But I can't even withdraw 1 yen from that account right now. Even if I go to the bank, I can't do it. But long story short, in Hiroshima, there's only one Mizuho branch. So if I want to get them, if I want to go there in person, it's very inconvenient. I have to miss a half day of work to go over there. So I fill out the paperwork, I send it to them, but it has been over a week and they still haven't unfrozen my account. If I don't have it unfrozen within the next few days, I'm just going to have to go over there and take a day or half a day off. It's ridiculous, but I'm letting you know so that you don't go through that nonsense. Be very careful about that. If you get some kind of notice from the bank, then fill it out quickly and take it to them, preferably in person. However, I would recommend this when it's about a month or month and a half before your residency expires, or as soon as you get your visa or residency renewed, go straight away to the bank and give them the new information so that you don't run into this problem. I didn't run into this problem with the Japan Post. I was able to go there very easily because they have so many locations. But Mizuho Bank in Hiroshima, they don't have many locations. They literally have one bank branch and then a few ATMs. But it's very inconvenient and not nearby where I live. It takes me over an hour to get there. And I had to leave the school because their hours are terrible. Monday through Friday, like 9 in the morning till about 2:30 in the afternoon. Something stupid like that. And so it's impossible for me to go there on the weekend or after I get off of work. I just have to lose a half day of work to go over there. It's nonsense. Anyway, I'm sorry for telling you all that. I know it has nothing to do with any of these things, but I feel like for those of you who are thinking about coming to Japan or haven't had to deal with that yet, who are living here but haven't heard of that, maybe it can help you. Maybe it will save you a little bit of grief. So maybe my grief is an error in your favor. So think of this as Akia monopoly, right? Akia error in your favor. But anyway, right now it is getting close to 4 o'clock. The sun is starting to set earlier and earlier these days. And the good news that I wanted to share with you, and I'll actually, let me turn the camera around so you could take a look at what I'm looking at. If I can do that, can I turn the camera on? It's not wanting to turn around while I'm talking, but, well, I guess it's okay. We'll just do it like this. Okay. These are the large piles of rubbish that Till helped me. He's from Germany. He came out and helped me to pile these up. And there are 3 large piles here to burn. I'd like to do that today, but I don't have time to stick around to tend them and make sure they die down okay. The ground is still a little wet, so it's definitely safe to burn, but it's not safe for me to burn and then leave them here and go back to the city. That's not safe, so I'm not going to burn them today. I'll just take care of them maybe next week. But you can see that where I've cut, that it's grown a little, but because fall is here, it hasn't just grown back up and exploded. So I'm able to get around here no problem. But it's still a little squishy through here, but there's no water, so that's good. And right around the corner, yep, there's the van. So that's my ride. And I feel shamed because they make me put this on here. If you don't know what this is, basically in Japan, this symbol means beginner. And the idea is that you're a beginner driver. But I'm not a beginner driver. I'm just a first time driver in Japan. So when I switched my license to the Japanese license, you get what's called a green license. Your license has green on it, and it just means you're a first year driver. You're like a newbie. So essentially, this is a newbie sticker, and you have to put one on the front and on the back. So it makes me look like a complete noob, and like I'm a person to be avoided and to be wary of whenever I'm driving on the road, which makes me feel ridiculous since I've been driving for more than 30 years. But in Japan, they don't care about that. All they care about is when you got your license in Japan. But anyway, you can see that there's plenty of room to park here. More than enough room to get in and out of the car. I parked a little close to the side over here, but there's still plenty of room. More than enough. I could have pulled up further if I'd wanted to, but it was unnecessary. So it's all good. But here's what I wanted to share with you. Some cool news. I still have my apartment in the city because I'm still teaching there right now, and I realize that there's so much I want to say, and I'm trying to figure out what I should tell you and what's important or what you care about. I don't want to bore you with nonsense, um, but what I do want to say is that during the week, if I'm in the city at my apartment, then there's nowhere for me to park. I would have to get a parking space, and just like everything else in Japan, there's no way to just pay for a parking space for like a month or 2 months or something like that. You have to get a lease, like a 1 year lease typically is what you have to get, and they cost anywhere from about 6,000 yen and on up. They can cost 30,000 yen. They can cost even 50,000. It depends on where you're at. But in my area, the cheapest is about 6,000, and you have to sign a lease for 1 year. I don't need a lease for 1 year. I have no intention of being at that apartment for that long. And if I break the lease, then I have to pay an extra month or whatever as a fee, a lease breaking fee. So Even though I can park at the school, and driving the car or the van up to the school during the week really helps me out so I don't have to walk up that hill. Um, it still costs me too much extra money to park every single day. So it was last week, I think it cost me about 3,000 yen to park all week long. Yeah, and so if you add that up, that's 12,000 a month, and that's ridiculous. That's all. That's twice as much as the cheapest monthly parking lease. And I was trying to figure out what to do, but the ladies at the cafe here in Toyosaka, they told me that if I want to park my van there at the cafe during the week, it's fine. I can just leave it there, and then whenever I come out, I can take the train to the bus, and then when I get off the bus, I can just get my van and drive out here to the house on the weekend, and then drive back and park it at the cafe again, so I don't have to walk from the bus to here. So that's a big help. It's not ideal, but it's a big help because physically that's a long walk for me, and it saves me from having to pay so much during the week just to park. If I'm not going to come out to the house, then I'll pay nothing. Pay nothing for the train, pay nothing for the bus, pay nothing for parking. Just leave it out here. If I just park it here for free and leave it, I have to walk all the way back to the bus station. So being able to park it at the cafe not only saves me time, it helps me out physically. But the other thing is that um, I'm getting to a point now at my job where, physically and mentally it's just wearing on me too much, and I need to take time off. It's a scary thing to do because there's no guarantee about the money that I'll be making, and I'm going to try my best to sell some things and do some of my own work while I'm on medical unemployment, and then just rest as I need. Sometimes I just really need to rest and lie down and not do anything. Sometimes I just don't feel good, or I don't have any energy, or I'm in pain. And in order to get past that, I need to be on a schedule that I control more. And if I'm teaching at the school like 45 hours a week, I can't do that. I mean, my company and no company here is going to be able to give me a working visa and let me work part time or do kind of freelance type stuff. I'll just have to figure out how to do that on my own. But it looks like I'm going to be able to get some medical unemployment for a little while so that I can recover, and we'll see how that goes. But in the meantime, some of you out there who've given me some really good positive um, support, feedback, and positive comments. Thank you so much. I, it really helps because there's nobody here most of the time. I do have my girlfriend sometimes, but she's really busy. She's a nurse, and I don't get to see her. She doesn't get to visit with me as much as we would like, and my closest friends aren't around. I would love to have them around me and be around them like I used to be when I was in China. My friends here, my friends abroad. I wish I could have them around me. That would be really great. But since I don't have them, I want to say thank you to my friends who not only I know personally that watch my videos and connect with me here, but also those of you who I haven't met personally that have connected with me through this medium. Thank you so much for your support, your kind words, your positive energy, your prayers, anything that's good and um, helpful. Thank you for that. I appreciate that because there's a this time in my life right now. I can feel the struggle between the the human side of me. I guess you could say the flesh and the spirit, where the spirit, the intuition part of me knows what to do and knows what needs to be done and wants to just trust, and the flesh part of me, the human part of me, wants to be scared and just stay stuck where I'm at because of that fear. But I know that if I do that, it will kill me. It's been tearing me down mentally and physically, and I've got such a serious situation with my body right now, I really don't have a choice. And I've described this to a couple of friends, and this is the way I felt recently. Is It's kind of like I've been fighting and fighting, and now I'm backed up to the edge of a cliff, and at the edge of that cliff, I have a choice. One of my neighbors driving by. Um, and my choice is behind me. I have this cliff, and there's just nothing but fog, and I can't see what's out there. I can jump into it and just hope and have faith that it will be the right thing. Or I give up and stay on the cliff, and these things that I'm fighting, I just let them take me, and I die in it. I die in that situation, doing the things that I don't want to do, living beneath my means, and not having an abundant life, not loving where I'm at and what I'm doing. And I know that I will die if I do that. So these are my choices, and that's the way I feel. So thank you for letting me share. I didn't mean for this video to be so long. I definitely didn't mean to uh, share so much of this stuff, but it's been a while since I made anything, and that's what's been going on with me. However, it appears that by the end of the year, I will no longer be teaching. I will leave my job very soon so that I can begin recovery on my body and my mind. And I don't know what all I'm going to be able to get done here at the villa, but now that I have this, and I have some other opportunities that I believe will play out, it's time for a major course change in my life, and I believe it will be a great thing. But for now, I think that's pretty much it. I'm going to drive back to the cafe, then walk down to the bus station and get the bus back to Saijo. I guess I'll leave you there. If you have anything to say, any suggestions, any good comments, feel free to leave them below. And I appreciate anything and everything you do to help me out. Love you guys and gals, and I will see you next time. じゃあね。